Hi everyone, my name's James Ivey from TSR Jivey Talks Tech, and I've got my greasy little mitts on some new gear goodies. This is the new Universal Audio X8 Gen 2 audio interface. UA started with the Mark I Apollos in lovely silver. We then went to Next Gen, the dark grey and black editions. We then went to Apollo X. It even says so there. And now we have X Gen 2. No cushions as yet for that one. It's very much business as usual from a look, feel, use point of view. They've gone back to the lovely silver colorway, but this is very much more an industrial style design. It looks really, really cool, very sharp. All the knobs feel great, that kind of nice anodized feel, nice chamfering on the edges. It's really, really sharp. I/O count and functionality, the Apollos pretty much stay the same. We have the Apollo Twin with 2 mic pre's. We have the Apollo X4 with 4 mic pre's. These are both desktop interfaces. We then have the rack units, which are the X6, which have 2 mic pre's. This one, the X8, with 4 mic pre's. The X8P with 8 mic pre's. The Apollo 16, which doesn't have any mic pre's, but it does have 16 channels of analog I/O. We then have the 16D, which gives us 16 channels of Dante I/O, which is very exciting. Did I miss anything? No, I don't think so. However, there are some very nice new features and updates they've added to the new Apollo Gen 2 line. The first new feature, UA are calling monitor correction. Now, I prefer monitor calibration, and UA have teamed up with SonarWorks for this. Now, this is an additional feature. You do have to pay for your SonarWorks software license in addition to buying the UA hardware, but you will be able to calibrate your monitoring up to a full Atmos rig, I think, depending on the I/O configuration of your Apollo. But that's very, very cool. As a big fan of monitor and room calibration, it's really handy not to have to worry about putting it in the final channel, the mix bus of your DAW, or having to worry about having it in the output chain for your system sounds. Assistive auto gain is exactly what it sounds like. It's a way of selecting either single or multiple line level input, mic pre or digital I/O, and automatically setting the gain for the optimum record level. So you could set the entire mic pre section and line level input section on your interface from one button push. It's very, very cool and works really, really well. Now, up until recently, I've been using a subwoofer to add some real low end to my monitoring rig. And sometimes it can be a real pain to try and control that sub. And what UA have done is added a proper bass management feature to the output of console. So you can now route your sub or your LFE, depending on your working environment, and have it controlled directly from the Apollo console. However, the single biggest tweak, and for me, the reason for ditching your Apollo X and going straight to X Gen 2 is all the little tweaks they've made across the board. We now get better quality A to D, better quality D to A, better quality headphone amps, better quality mic pre's, much lower distortion across the board, and all those little tweaks have really added up. When Ben and I were recording, it was just a jam, basically. The sound we had in our headphones was pretty much the sound that came out of the speakers. It sounded that good. I put a lot of mics on my drums. I think we were using 15 mics on the drums. We then recorded the bass with the DI. I then recorded some guitar over the top, kind of jazz guitar sound, using the instrument input, the Hi-Z instrument input on the front of the Apollo X8. And it all just sounded really good. And it sounded really good really quickly. Now for the mix, I've used 2 of the new SSL plugins that have also been released this week, the SSL channel strip and the G-Bus compressor. My theory being that I like the idea of mixing across a console, so all I've done is I've used exactly the same plugin channel strip across every channel. That's 15 drum mics, bass and guitar. And it sounds really cool, it sounds really cohesive. I've then mixed that through the G-Bus compressor, and it just sounds like an SSL recording. And that's for a fraction of the price of a real SSL. Now, I love the Universal Audio hardware. However, I really love the Universal Audio plugins that run on the DSP platform of the Apollo interfaces. And this time, it's not just as simple as you buy the interface, you get the plugins. We have options. We have 3 levels, and depending on which interface you buy and which price you go in at, you can get different plugins, either 20, 50 or 100. There are 3 options. There's the Essentials Plus Edition, the Studio Plus Edition, and the Ultimate Plus Edition. All come with differing price tags, but if you want to get in and get the most bang for buck, yes, it might look scary adding $1,000 to the price of an X16. However, that makes those plugins $10 each. Just going to leave that with you. Schoolboy maths was always my strong suit. Talking of processing, as we so nearly were, the Apollo X rack units are what's referred to as hexa-core units. They have 6 of UA's Shark DSP running internally to run not only the console, but also to run your extra plugins, whether you're running them inside the console or inside your DAW. Now, having done a bit of research, those Shark chips date back to the 90s. Shark as a format, which I can't remember what it stands for off the top of my head, is getting on a bit. I had hoped that UA by now would have transferred over to a more modern processing architecture like ARM or FPGA or some other thing that I don't know the acronym for. But that's a heck of an investment on their part. They've got a platform that works. Yes, it's getting on a bit, but it works and it's stable. And you can increase your DSP count up to, I think, 36 processors with the external cards or the internal cards. It is a difficult pill to swallow, I think, because, you know, this is old school tech now, but it's still working on brand new school hardware. And I suppose half of me goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's still working and it still works brilliantly. But the other half of me goes, how much more bang for the buck could we be getting from a newer format? However, development costs as they are at the moment, I don't see UA swapping anytime soon. As much as I think, oh, do you know what? It would be really good if they did. I don't see it happening anytime soon. And why should they? It works. I can run, so I was running the entire mix of just the 6 chips inside the X8, and it was working flawlessly. So really, what am I moaning about? Shut up, James. So I'm going to leave you with more of the track. Thanks to Ben Hearn for popping over for a day of jamming, quite frankly. It was great fun, and made more fun by recording everything through this thing. Genuinely, I've got a 24-channel console here, and we didn't touch it. We didn't need it. We had 8 extra mic pre's coming from my Audient ASP880. We were running 2 mic pre's over SP Diff from one of my Antelope interfaces. We were running 2 more from my Technosign Gain, running those into the analog inputs. The Apollo was looking after all the clocking via word clock, and it just kept going, running at a buffer size of 32 samples. What's not to love? Yes, there's an investment to these things, but good gear costs. It just does. I've definitely used lesser gear that's cost more money and had way more problems than we did on the session with this thing. It was just flawless. So if you're an Apollo user already, should you take the plunge and upgrade to the new X Series Gen 2? Well, honestly, if you're on the X Series, you're going to notice a difference. Maybe not with the X16, because for some reason the X16 already had better specs and the other units in the range were always playing catch up. And what they've done with X Gen 2 is brought all the units across the board up to be the same or similar specs to the X16s. So if you're already running X16s, probably not the time to worry. However, if you're still on a Mark I or Mark II Apollo Twin, it's going to be night and day. and it's well worth considering the upgrade path. And of course, you're going to get a whole raft of new plugins, which is always worth it. So thanks so much to the team at Universal Audio for getting this over to me. It's going to hurt. It really is going to hurt because it's such a great interface. It works brilliantly, and for 99% of the things that I do, it would be absolutely ridiculously overspec'd already. And if you already have a host of mic pre's that you love, go for the X16 and enjoy some of the fantastic new A to D conversion. I don't normally get excited about things like that, but this is a really cumulative thing. They've made so many small tweaks and adjustments that all of a sudden it's become a really big sonic adjustment, and I love it. Now, if you are in the market for a new Apollo X Gen 2, there I got it right, please do consider clicking on the affiliate link down there from our friends at Thomann and buy through them. It does help us out a little bit here at Jivey Talks Tech Towers. Also, please hit like, subscribe and ring that bell to be kept up to date with any future videos. But for now, my name's James Ivey from TSR Jivey Talks Tech, and I'll see you again very soon.